We're here at the Ulan RGI Center. We want to welcome Amy Mattews, who's a surrogate with Ulan, to Chicago, and we welcome you here to the Ulan RGI Center.
Thank you.
Okay. I want to ask you a few questions, Amy. If you have any questions or responses, we'd appreciate you just telling us how you feel about these things, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, have you ever been a surrogate before, and if so, how many times, and when was the last time?
No, I have never been a surrogate before.
And what made you decide you'd like to become a surrogate for a couple who desperately want to conceive but can't?
I've said for years, and I was told as a teenager that I could never have children. I was blessed with two beautiful boys.
Very nice.
So I want to give that chance to somebody else to have kids who can't, since I was told that I never could, and I have been able to.
That's very nice. What are your values regarding surrogacy? How do you feel about surrogacy?
I'm excited about the possibility of being a surrogate and helping others.
That's good.
I think it'll be a good experience.
Good. Can you tell me a little bit about your family? Are you married and do you have children?
I am married to my husband. We have been married 5 years, been together 7. He is a firefighter paramedic. And I have two boys, ages 13 and a half, almost 14, and 8. And they are full of energy. They both love riding four-wheelers and dirt bikes, and they keep me on my toes.
Regarding your husband, your husband, tell us a little bit about your relationship and about him.
He's wonderful. I was married before, and that marriage didn't work out, so he's completely opposite. I love him to pieces. He treats me like a queen.
Oh, very nice. Good.
So we have a good relationship.
And tell us a little bit about your children, their ages, and a little bit about each one. You said you had 3 children, but tell us 2. Okay, 2 children. Tell us a little bit about each one.
My oldest one is Christopher. He will be 14 in November. He's fixing to start the 8th grade. He just recently moved back home with me. He was with his father for a year. So we're still getting back acquainted because he's been gone for a year. My youngest one is a mama's boy. He's 8. He'll be in the 3rd grade. And he's a ball of energy. But I love them both so much.
Good. Smiles good. Does your husband or life partner, does your husband have any reservations regarding the legal relinquishment of parentage after the birth of the baby?
No.
Okay. Do you have a solid support system from your family and or your spouse or his family to help you face feelings that may be overwhelming during the pregnancy?
Yes.
Okay, describe that support system.
As of right now, my mom knows, and she's supportive. My husband knows. We have not said anything to the children until approval, just because I don't want them, what they don't need to know right now, they don't need to know until I'm approved. And then if I go forward, then I will tell them. And the rest of my family, I believe, will be supportive.
Do they live where do they live relative to where you live?
8 hours away. They're in South Carolina.
South Carolina, okay. Can you describe the maternal feelings you experienced during your prior pregnancies? How do you plan to deal with those feelings as a surrogate should they arise? The maternal feelings, first of all, that you had during pregnancy.
That was 6 years or 8 years ago. I really don't remember.
Okay. Okay. So
that's been a while ago.
So
I will take care of this child that I'm carrying as much as I would my own that I carried. And take care of him and myself just like I would if I were pregnant with one of my own.
That's good. Have you ever experienced any complications during a pregnancy, and if so, what kind?
My second one was a breeze. The first one I got dehydrated about 36 weeks and went into preterm labor. But they put me on bed rest for 2 weeks and I was good.
Okay. That was a full-term pregnancy?
It went to 38 weeks.
38
Both of mine were at 38.
38, okay. How do you take care of yourself during the pregnancy when it comes to your health?
I eat right, the right
What's
foods.
that
I don't
mean?
eat.
Tell us
I don't eat. I try not to eat junk food. A lot of soda, a lot of caffeine. Try and watch everything I eat to make sure it's healthy for me and the baby, so that I don't gain more weight than I should, because then that just causes more risk on the baby. But make sure I eat enough that the baby is healthy.
Good point. Yeah, real
You know what I'm
good
saying?
point, yeah.
So
Can you describe your diet in some detail? On a typical day when you were last pregnant?
I drank a lot of water. I ate sandwiches for lunch, if I recall correctly. For dinner, chicken or, a hamburger. I tried to stay away from a lot of the fatty foods. So more chicken, steak, that kind of stuff that, that could be grilled, not so much fried, greasy fat. I don't recall drinking much soda during my last pregnancy. Now, I had sweet cravings, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And I would eat, and my craving with my second child was Frosties from Wendy's, so I had my share of Frosties.
Everybody loves Frosties.
But I think I only gained like 17 or 20 pounds my last pregnancy.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
And he came out at 6 pounds, 12 ounces.
Oh, that's pretty good. Very, very good, yeah. As a surrogate, will you strive to eat a healthy diet or reach out for support if you need to?
Yes.
Okay. And should you become overwhelmed with morning sickness or other reasons during the pregnancy that prevent you from getting proper nutrition for your baby or yourself, would you reach out, and who would you reach out to?
Probably my OBGYN, find out what they recommend.
Okay.
Me being in the medical field as a paramedic, I would try and ensure, if I couldn't eat solid food, at least have some kind of liquid nutrition.
Tell us a little bit about what you do and what your typical day is in terms of your occupation. Yeah.
I'm a paramedic, full-time licensed paramedic.
And what's a paramedic?
A paramedic is one of the highest trained for EMS, emergency medical services, on an ambulance. When you call 911, you get me a lot of the time. And I currently work with another paramedic, so we are able to work together, and we're in the same level of training. A typical day, I work 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 10 to 6 Monday through Friday. I have lots of help as far as lifting and moving my patients as needed. They provide me with equipment that makes my job much easier than what it used to be when EMS first started. And some days I run 2 calls, and some days I run 6. No day is the same. Every day in my life is different at work. I don't ever have a boring day at work.
You look like you consider yourself in good condition?
I do.
Yeah, good. Should more than one embryo be implanted in you and all of them succeed, what are your feelings regarding fetal reduction or abortion if it's the couple's wishes to have no more than one child?
If it's the couple's wishes, then I will do as the couple wishes.
Okay. And what would you be willing? Would you be willing to consider twins?
Might be willing to consider. My thing with multiples is it's more of a risk for me and the fetuses, and they typically don't make it to full term, which puts them in NICU and all of that. So I think it's more of a danger to carry multiples, not only for me but for them, because they typically don't make it to 40 weeks.
Now being in
the medical field, I know how they.
Sure. And you see this, but
Right.
Yulan's had some successful twins. You
Right.
should know in the process of going along, just so you know. But
Right.
Are you willing to work with the surrogate agency, the IVF doctors, and the OB-GYN doctors to take all the necessary tests and screening to qualify and to travel out of state for operations if necessary?
Yes.
Okay. Are you willing to work under the instruction of a surrogacy support staff to provide all the data and information that's requested by the client?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of expectations do you have for the relationship with the couple, the IP couple, after birth?
I really don't have any expectations. If they want to continue to contact me after the birth, I'm fine with that. Hopefully during this pregnancy we can develop a friendship. Okay. I don't have many friends in China or wherever, so I can always have a new friend and we can talk and discuss how the baby's growing. It's whatever kind of relationship they want. I really have no expectation for anything after the birth.
And that's the next question was, do you have any desire to have future contact with the child as he or she grows into adulthood?
Again, I leave that totally to the IP. That decision's totally theirs. If they want to contact me, I'd be willing to correspond.
Sure. Another sensitive issue is abortion and adoption. Abortion generally is not allowed in ULAN's SAP terms of services. We've consulted the intended parents clearly on this and asked them to sign the terms of services before ULAN took them into the program. But in case the couple divorced or if the remote possibility that either one of them passed away or both should die, would you consider accepting an abortion?
I might consider it. I would prefer adoption if that were the case, or somebody in their family to take it.
Okay.
But, I mean,
If the above-mentioned tragic event occurred and you do not prefer the abortion, would you be interested in adopting the child through an arranged agreement?
that would be a consideration. I would consider that.
That's good. That's good. In case the newborn is found with defects or some disease or disability to some degree, even though the intended parents are required to take the child after birth, it's our job to ask about your choice for the possible adoption of the newborn. Can you share how you feel about this? You can change your mind here.
I would consider that, yes.
And you know you can change your mind.
And I could change my mind,
Yeah,
right?
okay, okay. Would you? This is a big if question. Would you be willing to travel to China for the possible embryo transfer procedure cycle?
Sure, why not?
Have a chance to have a lot of Chinese friends then. That's true. You know, a lot of Chinese friends.
As long as they send me a translator, I'm good.
So, if this is arranged, both male and female IPs had blood tests conducted in a U.S. FDA lab. You may be asked to go to China because some of our IPs have their embryos stored in China and cannot have them transferred to the U.S. The China Yulon contracted hospitals agreed to accept non-Chinese surrogates for embryo transfers in the event the child is delivered outside of China, just so you know. So,
Okay.
are you comfortable providing breast milk feeding to the newborn?
Yes, I will attempt to. The last 2 times I didn't produce very much, but every pregnancy is different. So I'm willing to try.
Good. Do you currently have a relationship with any other client, couple, independent IP parent, and if so, can you describe it? Actually,
No.
Okay, good. Are you willing to work exclusively with Yulon for at least 12 months as a condition under the SAP?
Yes.
Okay. In the event of a failed embryo transfer cycle, are you willing to start the next embryo cycle for the same intended parents or possibly new intended parents? Okay. Would you be willing to start the next cycle immediately, or would you prefer to wait 1 to 2 months?
Whatever the doctor feels is best.
Good answer. Are you comfortable asking the doctor for the OB-GYN results after each visit?
Yes.
Okay. And if so, would you be willing to fax or scan the OB-GYN results and mail them to Yulon?
Yes.
Amy, we want to thank you for participating in this and for bringing, coming to the center here and your time and effort for putting this video together. We know that the lives that you help in helping conceive a birth for people who can't have children will be greatly, greatly appreciated. Before the video ends, do you have any thoughts you'd like to share with our intended parents?
Just that with my job, I know some people may wonder how dangerous it is. It's not as dangerous as you think. I do this every day, and I have help throughout the day. Supervisors, police, fire department. It's not as dangerous as everybody thinks it is, as it's portrayed on TV. So I would do what's in the best interest of the child and protect myself and the baby, even while I was at work.
How long have you had the job as the...
I've been in EMS since 2004, so 10 years.
10 years. So you had one baby while you were...
I had one baby while I was
Okay, so
in
tell
EMS.
us how that went. You were working as the paramedic.
Right.
And you were carrying the baby. How did that work out? Give us a little idea.
With that pregnancy, my doctor chose to take me and put me on light duty.
Light duty.
After 6 months.
Light duty is what? What's
Light duty was like office work, so I was sitting at a desk
office
for the last...
work at the job.
At the job. I was still at work, working my normal... They put me on 40-hour a week.
Yeah.
So I was working 40 hours a week for the last 3 months, up until the day I went to the doctor and delivered.
Oh, nice. And that was desk work.
And that was desk
So
work.
that was decided during the pregnancy.
Right.
Oh, good. Okay. Anything? Thank you very much. You did a great
Thank you.
job.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.